Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Consider the following statement. The statutory public corporations or government companies registered under the Companies Act are regarded as instrumentalities of the state. Employees of such bodies are regarded as employees of the government. Employees of an employer who come within the meaning of Article 12 of the Constitution are government servants. Which of the statements given above are correct? The answer to this is none. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to the civil servants. Let us try and understand what are these statements. First, we have to understand the context. What is the context? A senior Indian Administrative Service officer has been withdrawn from Raj Bhavan in Kolkata upon the request of the governor. Nandita Chakravorty was the principal secretary to the governor. Now she has been shifted to the tourism department. In this particular backdrop, we have to understand who are the civil servants. Civil servants include members of the civil service of both the center as well as the state government. This includes all India services or all those posts which come under the center or the state government. For example, we have the IAS, we have the IPS, we have the IFS. These are some of the posts at the central level. Then we also have administrative services at the state level as well. We have the Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. All this becomes part of the civil services, which basically means civil servant or the civil post means an appointment or office on the civil side and includes all those personnel employed in the civil administration of the union or the state government. How do we identify it? Who selects the employee? Who appoints him? Who pays him the remuneration or wages? Who controls the method of his work? Who has the power to suspend or remove him from employment? Who has the right to prescribe the conditions of service? Who can issue directions to the employee? If the answer to all these questions is the government, then that happens to be a civil post under the government. This is how we would be able to come to a conclusion whether it is a civil post. If a person is working for the civil post, he happens to become a civil servant. Now, if you look into the statement, the statutory public corporations or government companies registered under the Companies Act are regarded as instrumentalities of the state. This part is right. However, employees of such bodies are regarded as employees of the government? No, this is not the right one. Why? That is because these corporations and the companies have their own distinctive personality separate from the government. Accordingly, the employees of such bodies are not regarded as the employees of the government and thus does not fall within the purview of the civil servants, and they do not fall under the scope of Article 310 as well as 311. The second statement reads, employees of an employer who come within the meaning of Article 12 of the Constitution are government servants. This is a wrong statement once again. Why? Because the government can have control over such employees, but they are not necessarily government servants or the civil servants. The first and the second statement are wrong. So the answer to this would be none. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section. Let's say, for example, we have one of the civil servant and all India civil services. Let's say the IAS. The IAS is recruited by the central government. Training is provided by the central government, and ultimately they are posted in the states as well. They are designated one of the state cadres as well. Can the state government remove such personnel from the service? So we have the central government who will take them, recruit them, and also employ them in the states. But does the state government now have the power to remove them? Yes or no? If it is not, what is the answer? Please put it on the comment section. Now let's look into the next practice question. Twin deficit, often seen in news, is related to revenue and effective revenue deficit, fiscal and current account deficit, primary and fiscal deficit, revenue and fiscal deficit. The answer to this is fiscal and current account deficit. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to the twin deficit, which is why we have taken this practice question. When we speak about twin deficit, it is nothing but a combination of fiscal deficit and the current account deficit. What is this fiscal deficit? This is a condition basically where the government spends far in excess in comparison to the revenue that it is able to generate. So when the government's expenditure exceeds the revenue, that is what is called as the fiscal deficit. What is current account deficit? Current account deficit basically goes on to say that as a country makes exports as well as the imports. Imports are the ones what we are making from some other country. Exports are those goods and services which we are exporting to some other country. If the imports are far in excess in comparison to exports, that is what is called as current account deficit. Deficit of what? Deficit of the exports. So here we have far more imports in comparison to the exports. That is what is called as the current account deficit. What will be the impact of the current account deficit on the economy? When there is an increased current account deficit, this leads to weakening of the Indian rupee. This further means that we are increasing on the imports, which means the import bill will also increase. A costly import shall also means higher payments in dollar and decrease in the reserves. Now let's look into the next practice question. With respect to KAVACH, which of the following statements are correct? KAVACH is a national level hackathon to identify innovative ideas and technological solutions for addressing the cyber security and cybercrime challenges. AICTE and BPRD jointly launched the event, during which youth from educational institutions across the country and registered startups will participate. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is both. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the PIB makes a reference to the KAVACH. What is this KAVACH? We have the All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, Bureau of Police Research and Development, and Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, which have launched this event called as the hackathon. What is the idea behind it? They will identify ideas and technological solutions for addressing the cyber security and cybercrime challenges of the 21st century faced by the law enforcement agencies as well as the common citizens. What is the objective of this hackathon? We have number of events that surfaces because of the cyber attacks. These cyber hackers may hit one of the websites which is related to the government. They may also pose a threat to the private individuals as well. In order to overcome these issues, what we require is solutions on the cyber security front. So this hackathon will basically give number of issues to these people who are from different educational institutes and also cyber startups as well. So these issues will be identified, and these people who are going to this hackathon, which will be an event, will have to find solutions to this cyber attack problems. So this happens to be one of the unique initiatives which is called as the KAVACH. So what will they do? All the cyber security related problems will be given to them. They will come out with the solutions, and those which are selected and ultimately can be executed, they will also be given a total prize money worth of 20 lakh to such winning teams. So identification of the problem, let's say for example we have women safety issues, phishing issues, obscene content detection, spam alerts, so on and so forth. These are the issues. So such issues will be given to the participants, and what will the participants do? They know different kinds of technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, augmented reality. They have their own ways of dealing with it. So they identify such issues, come up with a solution, and this solution, if it satisfies, they will be given a prize as well. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements are correct with respect to Nilgai? It is categorized as least concern on the IUCN Red List. Nilgai is protected under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Nilgai is the state animal of Delhi. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 1 and 3 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to Nilgai. First statement is least concern. Yes, the IUCN Red List points out it is least concern for Nilgai. So the first statement is right. When you consider the second statement, it is not Schedule 1, but instead it is Schedule 3. So the second statement is wrong. And yes, Nilgai happens to be the state animal of Delhi. So the first and the third statement are right. The second statement is wrong. So the answer to this would be C. Let's look at some of the important state animals. We have Andhra Pradesh, which is black buck, Arunachal Pradesh, Mithun, Assam, Indian one-horned rhino, Bihar, Gaur, Chhattisgarh, wild buffalo, Goa, Gaur, Gujarat, Asiatic lion, Haryana, blackbuck, Himachal Pradesh, snow leopard, Jharkhand, Karnataka and Kerala have elephant, swamp deer, which is from Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, giant squirrel, Manipur, Sangai, Meghalaya, clouded leopard, Mizoram, Sero, and as part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section which is the state animal of Tamil Nadu. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which one of the following is not a digestive enzyme in the human system? Trypsin, gastrin, petalin, pepsin. The answer to this is gastrin. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2007. Now, if we look into gastrin, this happens to be a hormone which stimulates the secretion of digestive enzyme in the stomach. But trypsin, pepsin and ptyalin are the digestive enzymes of the human system. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is Raisina dialogue. Let us try and understand what is this Raisina dialogue all about. We have different types of world conferences that are held on the defense and on the security parameters. One such conference happens to be the Shangri-La dialogue, which takes place in Singapore. Similar such conference that takes place in India is what is called as the Raisina dialogue. So this happens to be India's premier foreign policy conference, which is committed to addressing some of the most challenging issues facing the global community. So what are the various issues? Let's say for example, we have United States of America's Iran tensions in the past, Afghan peace initiatives that have been taken in the past, or let's say for example, we have Ukraine Russia issues. So some of the daunting issues that have been hurting the global community, such issues will be discussed as part of this foreign policy conference. So India has taken up the lead to conduct this Raisina dialogue. Every year, global leaders from across the world, business, media, civil society all gather in Delhi. They discuss on some of the issues that have been hurting the global community and they come up with some of the solutions. So this dialogue is basically a multi-stakeholder approach, which means we have the government, we also have the government backed officials, we have the private sector, we have the members from the media all come together. They discuss and try to come out with a solution for some of these issues. This is hosted by Observer Research Foundation, which happens to be an independent think tank in collaboration with the Ministry of External Affairs. So this is hosted by Observer Research Foundation in collaboration with the Ministry of External Affairs. From the preliminary examination point of view, remember the first edition of this dialogue took place back in the year 2016. The name Raisina dialogue comes from the Raisina Hill, which is nothing but an elevation in the national capital, which is New Delhi. Why does this dialogue matter? That is because Raisina dialogue has elevated the global profile of our country. Why? Because you have number of countries which has come up with this security dialogue conference, so on and so forth. India has also come up with it. So India is taking up the responsibility of finding solutions, discussing with the global partners. So this will increase the global profile of the country, and as well as it will also showcase the near-term priorities of India. Raisina dialogue is also an opportunity to make sure that India is aspiring to become a global leader and wants to take up proactive role in the international relations. As much as India is contributing to the global community, it is also showcasing that it wants to be very proactive when it comes to the international relations. Raisina dialogue is also conceived as a platform for ideas. How? Because we have stakeholders, which includes the government, we have the private, we also have the civil society. For a problem, you have all these people coming together and they discuss about these issues as well as the solution. So this is the apt platform for the ideas to remove some of the issues that have been existing. The dialogue also provides a chance for all the young scholars, researchers to come and interact with galaxy of people from the international relations. So basically, the Raisina dialogues confirm with the global perception that India's time is fast approaching, and India is also sending a clear-cut message that it is aspiring to become a global leader and a true world power. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.